Alright, Frogman YouTube channel. You already know it's Frogman, and this is Fire Force Volume 29 by Atsushi Okubo. This is also known as the creator of Soul Eater. This is Volume 29 inside of Omnibus number 10. Now, if you've been watching the videos, you know that we're almost at the end of Fire Force. There are 34 volumes. There's one more in this omnibus. After that, we're down to the last 4. I can't get these last 2 in the omnibus, so instead of waiting for September, November type, we're gonna go ahead and do them in the singles when we get there. Stay tuned, stay excited. I know I'm excited. I really want to finish this series. I have been on this one for a little while now. I'm excited to get to the end of it, and I hope that you will join me. Let me start off by saying Volume 29 has a lot to go over. We got a lot of notes, and there's a few sections in this volume that I'm not going to cover in this video as very in deep as I want to, and that is because they are probably the most integral, craziest, some of the craziest things that I've seen in this manga, and I want to spare anyone from being spoiled by that from my video. When we get there, we'll decide if we're going to go into it, but I'm sure if you're here watching Volume 29, I'm sure you know why. First off, here's our green. Not necessarily a standout cover like green is usually supposed to indicate. It's mainly for the math this time. In behind the note, the year is Solar Era 198, and it has been 250 years since the Great Cataclysm last happened. So that means that there's a 42-year gap, and that comes from the Solar Era. Obviously, it's only Solar Era 198, but it's been 250 years. So if you're reading this and you have some trouble with the math, that's how it happens. And holy shit, boys, I kind of forgot about this one. This is our W cover page. This is insane. The moment you've all been waiting for, the Great Cataclysm, and it begins. You've got the giant 29 here. You've got the moon. We've all seen the moon. Some weird characters in these stars. Man, that is a hell of a cover page. All right, we're getting started here on a blue. Here's a classic shonen moment down here in this this panel here. A blow meant to slay me in one strike. And yet, how many times have you struck me, boy? Arthur says, I don't remember. Dragon says, my point is, the number makes no difference. You will never succeed. That is a classic shonen moment. How many times have I hit you? I don't know. It's not going to work anyway. Man, I guarantee you by the end of this manga, I bet it works. I bet it works, dumbass. Here is, as Arthur worries, Dragon's power goes up. This is a kind of, I don't know if this is meant to be, or maybe I'm looking too far into it. Arthur's power derives mainly from his imagination and from how strong he believes himself to be. So although in a hopeless situation, he can come back from that. However, in a hopeless situation, his enemy has now grown larger, whether quite literally grown or whether just in Arthur's perspective. As he worries, the enemy's power seems to be bolstered and to be improved. Back on this one, boys, like I said, we got a lot to go. Here's a screaming Charon panel, and I really enjoy it. You've lost, Company 8. The fact that we beat you proves everything. At the heart of this world's imagination is death, and the answer is the Great Cataclysm. He's screaming as he's being shot into this door by Lieutenant Hinawa, and obviously the moon's up here going crazy. Amazing weekly cliffhanger on this same chapter, the actual clicking in of the key, and then obviously I would assume the turning of said key for the start of the Great Cataclysm. This would be super exciting, and I would be really wanting that next chapter on a weekly read. Here we go, bottom right, how, bruh? It's what I wrote on my note. For a second, I'm like, what am I talking about? We're talking about this right here. Here's a quick flashback that does more for Charon than it does Haumea. I don't like Haumea. Kick rocks. Haumea, hello, where are you? He's looking for her. He's walking through. I take my eyes off of her for a second and she runs off somewhere. How, bruh? You're wearing a damn bandana loincloth type joint, bruh. How can you see? You took your eyes off nothing, bruh. Anyway, like I said, I think this cliffhanger, not this cliffhanger, I think this flashback in this chapter does a lot more for Charon than it does for Haumea. Haumea is still kind of a bitch. Let's be real. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. You keep it real with me. Haumea's kind of a bitch. I don't like her. But Charon, I mean, come on, bro. Charon is the GOAT. Look at this. This is the actual beginning of the Great Cataclysm. She is feeling Charon's pain. She's screaming his name. No, Charon, no. And then Charon's over here. He's actually literally kind of getting blasted apart right now. You can handle the rest on your own, right, Haumea? he says. Charon is the GOAT. This is an awesome cliffhanger. Turn the page once to a green, awesome, standout cover. I just think the eyeball and the all black is really sick. Back to back to back to back to back to back. It seems like it never ends. What the fuck am I looking at right here? This is the start of the Great Cataclysm. There's a giant eye on this great spherical type thing. It almost looks like a moon or a planet or something. And then it has 8, they're technically the pillars, 8 spider leg type things almost. Assimilating with the imagination. This whole page spread is fire. And as you can see, they're right above Tokyo, right there on the map. That is what we're looking at. There's a giant eye with some legs, and then it comes up and it almost looks like a thought bubble. That's what I'm seeing. This is the beginning of the Great Cataclysm. This is super sick, guys. This is what makes Charon the Bouncer Guardian. They call him by the Bouncer Guardian earlier in this volume, and this is what that means. As he has been shot repeatedly, probably 100 times or more, he says, "Thanks for all the energy. You can have it back now. This is my last gift to you, Fire Force." As he is fully powered up. He's covered in flames. He's fully powered up, and he throws it all back. Boom! Before Maki realizes she has to throw her hands up to catch this thing and try to change the trajectory. Luckily, this was pretty sick. He now knows that he can do it, but he needs a target. And he looks up and he sees Dragon. And he freaking throws it at Dragon. And look at how it hits him. It just, wow! Blasts everything in its way, and it goes so far as to shoot off of the freaking planet. It shoots off the planet, and it takes Dragon with him. Man, the cliffhanger here, just the actual beginning of the planet starting to erupt, super crazy. Get over it, I wrote on this. This is talking about Lieutenant, first Captain, no longer Lieutenant, First Captain Huo Yan and Kareem. Here, they're still talking about Rekka. Man, get over Rekka, bro. Please get over Rekka, is what I was saying until I got to a certain chapter. God, you'll see that as we get there. Here's a cool double spread of the Earth burning up as imagination and reality have become one, and half of the planet is now on fire. How crazy is that? Here we get the actual naming of the pillars and what they are meant to somewhat represent. One of them, this is Amaterasu, I'm assuming madness, passivity, apathy, wrath, destructivity, fear, loathing, and despair. I'm telling you, this is crazy, guys. We're gonna keep pushing. There is a little bit of a gap where I don't have a lot of notes. Some of this stuff I'm gonna save maybe for another video, or I may put it in a short or something. But this right here, this was a fire moment. This was Licht having a fire moment here, and how everybody believes in him. We used to not trust this guy, and now we all kind of believe in him. Quick but not meaningless moment. This is again Dragon in outer space. He actually got shot into space by that blast, and he decides to head back after thinking about how strong and how unturned away that Arthur was. He wants to go back and finish fighting him. Now, we're gonna get to a part of the story that was super, super crazy insane. But before we get there, we're gonna open up to this blue. This is Obi's speech on the phone. He's talking to all the other companies during the Great Cataclysm, and he's telling them how it is happening now, and that changing people's fear into hope can get them out of this. Don't give up hope, and best of luck for all of us. Now we get here. This is obviously Sister Sumeyer, and she is one of the pillars. She is the 7th pillar. Spoiler warning, major spoiler warning for Fire Force. We're gonna open up to one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. Real life ass lackey loser. This is a loser, but I've never seen real people in manga before. This was insane. Before the Great Cataclysm, my name was Sumeyer Sugita. And even then, in the year 250 years ago, I served the evangelist to help bring about the Great Cataclysm. This character has been there for a very long time, and a lot of these panels I'm not going to really go over except the cliffhanger. The look of evilness and the kind of evil troll face smirk that this character does at the end of this chapter. This was super phenomenal, and I really hope that maybe somebody wants me to talk about this in depth. I'm not exactly sure why yet. I don't know why she's the only one so far from the last Cataclysm. She has really given up hope. She has no hope for the future of where this world is going because she's been at the last one. She was on the last one. And I think it's smart to make the first one, as I'm assuming the first one, to make it look like real life. I think it's a good business move because now going from real life, you can always go back and make a real life story. You can make a real life show or something. You can't really go back and do what they're doing now. They talk about how compared to the old Cataclysm, which is this right here, the world of Fire Force must look like a strange, inconceivable kind of world. I think that's better, have your first one look like this, then everything that Okubo does forward, if he adds it to this story, or the kind of the universe of his stories, they can look wackier and wackier, which I think is very smart. But this page here has its own note, man. Even back in the old Cataclysm, this woman, Sister Sumaye or Sugita, wants to be the lackey of the evangelist and serve them. Just a real life loser. This is a real loser, man. Don't be like this. Don't be like this character. And we push forward. Obviously, we've seen this one already, the cliffhanger of that chapter. We're just going to push forward, boys. I'm not going to say too much about that. That was a very crazy chapter of Fire Force, and I'd never seen something like that before in manga. Anyway, Soichiro is back. Soichiro is the Captain Hakuei Soichiro, and he died earlier in this story. Now he's back. He is very strong, and he looks freaking nuts. He looks insane. Also, at the end of that chapter, fuck Rekka. Rekka's back. Fuck Rekka. I don't care. I don't like this character. Obviously, he's just the imagination. I don't really believe that Rekka's back. This is a kind of a figment of the two Company 1 guys' imagination. But man, fuck Rekka. I do not like Rekka. Even at the beginning of the story, I never saw Rekka making it to the last 5 volumes of Fire Force. Super lame. And we're down to one note. We're down to one last note. A lot of this I have saved. I didn't nominate much of this because it is set up and trying to get to the next chapter or the next volume. However, this was super awesome. This was super sick. This is Arthur's last trial he must beat before he is truly able to slay the dragon on the special Nintendo. They're not playing Dragon Quest. They're playing Dragon Question. That was super awesome. Dragon Quest is getting an HD 2D remake later this year. Looks freaking phenomenal. Dragon Question. I could probably beat this game, let's be honest. Arthur just kind of sucks. But that is the end of this volume. This volume ends on the characters high-fiving. They have beat this level with the phony Draken as the boss, and they're ready to move on to the next ordeal. So that's the end of Fire Force Volume 29. Like I said, one of the most game-changing volumes, one of the craziest volumes. That chapter with this extra large note, maybe you skip that section of the video, maybe you skip past that. That is crazy, seeing stuff like that in manga is super crazy, and I'm excited to see more. So hopefully we see more in Fire Force Volume 30. That is the one I'm reading next on the Frogman YouTube channel. Speaking of Frogman YouTube channel, please go support the official release. And while you're supporting the official release, support Frogman YouTube channel.